Okay, starting stream. So it should be going any second now. And we'll just make sure we're not getting duplicate discussions, conversations. So I'm just kind of
Check,
chattering
check,
here.
check, 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 check.
Make sure. And Thomas is checking it.
You sound good. Sounds
Sound good?
good.
All right, man. Welcome, and you're listening to episode 160 of PHP Ugly, your weekly intake of developer whining, complaining, just general
Chatter.
bitching. I am one of your hosts, Eric Van Johnson, and with me, week after week, my good friend, Thomas Rideout.
Hello, I'm glad to be here.
Thomas, you are looking exceptionally dasher today. I have not seen you wear a collar in a very long time.
Yeah, I decided to treat myself and picked up a couple $5 polos from Walmart.
But you wear it good, my friend. You wear it good.
It's nice. My wife noted that the heavier fabric hides my more feminine features.
Do I want to know what those are?
No,
Okay. Mm. Well, I like it. I know we've been talking for a while about stepping up our fashion, and I'm still rocking the DiegoDev T-shirts I've been wearing for the last 5 years. Really need to do something about that. I just don't know what it is. It's uh it's a
well,
conundrum for me,
DiegoDev polos, of course.
and I do have a couple of those. Except I don't look great in a polo. I want to get uh, John. I way back in the day when John and I were just friends and we weren't running a company together. I had actually bought him a SDPHP bowling ball shirt, and I
Ooh.
think that's what I want to do. I think I'm going to look at grabbing a couple bowling ball shirts, throwing the Diego Dev logo on it, and see if I can pull that look off. I don't know. That's you gotta kind of be like a certain person to be able to pull that look off. But I'm gonna give it a shot.
Yeah, Guy Fieri.
Yeah, exactly. So what have you
You
been up
get the
to,
get
man?
the get the frosted tips and everything.
I got look at this for those of you not watching the video. You're lucky. Look at this bird's nest thing I have happening up here now. I was
Oh
like,
my.
I'm not sure what's going on there. That's horrible. I'm thinking about shaving it all off again. Back in the day, I used to be a little cube head. I used to have it all shaved off.
It was a good look for you.
Did you think? Yeah, I thought so. The wife didn't care for it. That's why I started
Yeah.
growing it out again. But I think I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna. I mean, I'm being forced into that role. I really. I don't. It's out of my hands at this point.
Yeah, it's you can't will it to be any different.
Exactly. So, oh, we forgot to wake Ian up. Ian, you asked me on Twitter to wake you up when we started talking because you're going to be developing. So wake up. So yeah, I did my my service, my public service for today.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to? I actually know a little secret about something you've been struggling with at work. I don't know if
Oh,
that's anything to
really?
talk about. Yeah, I heard you guys had a downgrade to PHP 7.2.
I haven't heard anything about this. What happened?
Oh, okay. Oh, I just got that one piece of nugget of information. Again, your boss messaged me and he was like, "Hey, are you guys on 7.3? And then are you having any problems with it?" And I'm like, "No." And I don't think I lied to him. I'm pretty sure we're on 7.2, 7.2 everywhere. But he said that you guys are seeing some sporadic SQL connectivity issues. I mean, it's not consistent. So
Huh.
we did the whole Google thing, and we
I am
found.
just so glad I'm not full stack anymore.
So you just do the development, huh?
Yeah, I didn't even hear about it, never had to worry.
There you go. See, it's nice. It's nice to have it. So yeah, I guess you guys had a downgrade to 7.2, but yeah. All right. Well, I guess we won't talk about that. I shouldn't have aired dirty laundry. I apologize to your boss. I don't want him to have me knocked off, man. He's got some pull right here.
I don't think he has that kind of power. He couldn't get you all the way to Jersey.
Yes. So what you been up to? I've had an exciting week. So before I start to ramble, I'm going to give you an opportunity to share your life, seeing how you made it very clear that I pretty much dominated our last show and you refused to do a show with me last week because of it.
I assure you that was not the case. I wish it were just obstinance, but no. I've just been working and reading and you know JSON object decoding, and it's it hasn't been anything too notable. Just very busy. Although I have to say that today was the first day of school for one of my kids, and it's the first day of school
Nice.
tomorrow for two of the other two.
Hmm.
So I couldn't be more pleased.
Yeah, I think school's out here start next week. I know my daughters start their college. I mean, it's not really the same thing.
Yeah, that
Matter of
doesn't
fact,
count.
half their classes now they take online. It's like that's like a normal thing for them. It's not even like this unusual thing. It's kind of expected that like half your courses are going to be online now. So,
Yeah,
my,
it seems like that's becoming the norm for high schools even.
really, well, yeah, I guess so. I know my kids had some friends that did that went the whole online high school route. So I guess I don't know. Weird. I mean, who am I to talk? I basically work remote. I mean, I happen to come into an office, but there's no requirement for me to come into an office. So
I'm starting to I'm starting to want to get an office,
yeah,
but
I go I
I
go
I
back and forth on it.
I saw a thing. What's the office, the online big tech office thing?
We work.
We we work.
I know that's one. I know that's one of the ones out here. I'm not sure if it's all over the U.S. or not.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of because they filed for their IPO. They do remote offices and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and their their IPO filing revealed that they're losing $5,500 per customer per year,
$5,500. Wow.
and
Like,
somehow they're going public on that business model.
well, because there's always a plan. I mean, it's like the whole Uber Lyft thing. They're losing millions of dollars, but it's okay. We had planned on losing millions of dollars, so that's fine because we knew it was going to happen.
We're totally expected to lose millions and millions of dollars.
That's why you have the investors, man. We're in our burn rate right now, and
Ugh.
yeah. I don't know. You know, I'm the only one that comes into the office on a regular basis. So it's kind of like my space, which I'm actually good with. It has
Well, but
helped
I mean,
me.
we knew that when you first moved in and peed in all the corners.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and took off my pants and started scooting around the floor. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just casual
I'm gonna have
tagging.
to clean that up at some point. But yeah, and it also. I mean, I'm literally 5 minutes from my house. I could walk to my office if I wasn't such a puss, But I am a puss, and I drive to my office. But it is nice because when I go home, I always struggled with separating work and home, and so I really do a good job now. When I go home, I don't whip out the laptop. Unless I have something that needs to get done, the laptop stays put away. I have an iPad, which I can answer emails, talk on Slack if I need to. But yeah, it's pretty good. Wow, I just realized that I'm not. I'm totally on the wrong scene on on OBS.
On the broadcasting. Oh, and
No, no,
I have to launch
nobody,
Discord. I'm not even in Discord.
nobody has been looking at you at all.
Oh well, that's fine then.
Well, not when I'm talking about how good you look. It's not fine. I should
No,
get you.
that's still very fine.
I need to give you some screen time now. There you go. Give you your own screen time. Why do I share OBS with you if you're not going to tell me when I'm making mistakes, man?
I didn't see it this time. Because whenever you share OBS, the video jumps around back and forth.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's something about it not wanting to display a 3D rendered 2D plane, something like that.
Wish I could get active speaker working again. That was one of my favorite ones, and does not seem to want to work.
Well, I need to try out getting OBS running on my machine to see if it runs any better than on your ancient Apple hardware.
Hey, man, I got the ever since getting the external GPU, man, this thing's been spinning like a top. So I'm
Yeah,
pretty happy.
throwing $1,000 at a computer is supposed to do that, though.
$600.
Well, that wasn't it 600 without the GPU?
No, and it was probably more like 750. It was like the case was like 350, and the GPU was like 350, 375. So yeah.
I'm in the GPU market now. I'm looking at AMD's got some new offerings. The RX 5700. Have you seen this?
No, I don't follow that industry anymore. I used to be so big on the hardware, following all the graphic cards and everything. I have since turning to a Mac, I have totally stopped any of that. I don't follow any of it anymore.
Well, Nvidia was super proud of being at the top of the game and selling $800 video cards and not being able to be beaten by anybody. And then AMD came out with a new architecture just sort of out of nowhere that everyone knew was coming but didn't know when. And this new architecture was basically $400 for the same performance as Nvidia's $800 card.
Hmm.
And that sort of flipped things on its head pretty fast. So I'm excited about that. It's gonna be a little while. Uh, the units aren't in on shelves yet, but they're coming.
Cool. What are you playing with there?
Oh, this is my antenna stand for my software defined radio thing. It's a
Ah, you talked
little
about that
gorilla
last
grip
show.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You still enjoying that? You still playing with it?
Yeah, not playing with it
That's
as much
the
as I wish, but
SDR radio, right? That's what that is?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. If you're interested, you tune into episode 159 and hear Thomas talk about that.
Yeah. Although amazingly enough that was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks? Yeah, we took last week off, which
So
was fine.
I had an interesting we'll say issue.
Okay.
My my old development laptop, I think it's got to be 5 years old now.
Hmm.
It has just decided to turn off now sometimes.
Okay.
I can't find any exact reason why. There's no log file that indicates that it was told to shut down or why it shut down. It just goes fully shut down, turned off in the middle of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And usually it's not too big a problem. Start it back up and it recovers itself nicely and just get everything loaded up again. But today it did it while I was doing a git commit.
Oh. That's probably not good.
It turns out it's really not good. And it corrupted the entire git repository on my computer.
Really?
So there was essentially nothing I could do without getting knee deep into Git commands that are completely foreign and for fixing corrupted databases.
Hmm.
Fortunately, it was only a one-line commit, so I just wiped the directory and fetched it again from origin and just started over.
Right.
But that error message of Git is corrupted irrecoverably is a bit of a daunting one.
That's got to be kind of horrifying to see that.
Yeah, I really, really am lucky that I do a git commit, git push every couple minutes.
It's weird. I think I hear somebody at the office. Oh, somebody's right outside my window.
Just
I'm like,
screaming obscenities at you.
yeah. Like, is my wife here? She listens to the show. I know this now. I should not joke like that.
We'll,
She'll be listening to the show, and I'm going to be doing something. I'll be like, "What the, Eric?"
we'll bleep it. Don't worry.
So, well, we had last week. So we didn't talk last week. Um, we had to shuffle schedules around a little bit. I had to go out to Arizona uh, for my mom and sister, and then last minute a few things came up and we couldn't record at the new time, so we just decided to blow it off. But last week, one of our developers on a project was basically offline. She had taken a vacation. The nerve of her, but I guess
Probably a good call.
legally she's a contractor. She can do that. Whatever. But she took some time off. But they're pushing real hard on this project, this greenfield project that they've been working on for over a year now. It's essentially to a stage where at any moment the client can say, "Okay, we're launching, and we're just going to go live with it."
Oh God.
But right now it's just like a sprint of doing. Okay, well, let's make sure we get this done, and we want this done before launch. And so it's like finding all this stuff, this last minute stuff that we really want done before launch, and just you know going straight after it. And one of the things we needed to do is, so I got to do a couple things. But one of the things we needed to do was implement an admin interface. And we looked at using Nova. Nova wasn't going to really fit for what we needed. I actually was going to use Voyager, which is created by a local developer here in San Diego who used to come to the Laravel meetup. Yeah, he's pretty fantastic. But I actually forked it, and because this Greenfield app I mean, it has gotten so big. Um, we had some overlapping tables with his package. And so I actually had forked his package and started customizing it and trying to shoehorn it into this app. I spent about 2 days on it, and I'm just like, you know, it's too much work. I'm not going to worry about this right now. So I just
Sure.
ended up building something from scratch. So I started writing something. It's very, I don't get a lot of opportunities to code as much as I used to. And so I start coding the admin interface, and as part of this admin interface, um, I got to implement a state machine, which
Ooh.
yeah, I'd listened to Jake Bennett talk about state machines for a while on whatever his podcast is called, North Meets South, or the one he does with Michael Dorinda. Great podcast. I'm pretty sure that's it, North Meets South. Yeah. But he's talked about the benefits of state machines for a while, and I used to kind of hear it in the background, and it was one of those things I kind of noted, but thought to myself, I don't know if it's ever anything I would need. But now that I have done it, I'm like, yeah, this is really going to become like part of my regular thing here, and it really, I
Really?
think, oh yeah, I mean, because honestly, either I'm oversimplifying it now or I was over complicating it before. So when I was initially trying to understand it, I kind of got the concept, but struggled with the implementation. Now that I've gone through it and deployed it, which keep in mind, it was just a package. There's a package for state machines, and then there's another package that's a wrapper to that package for Laravel. So it allows you to use eloquent commands with it. And now that I've got it implemented, I realize, or at least at this point, the way I'm using it is that it's really just a glorified validation rule. I mean, that's all. That's all it is. But it's really powerful and good to have. So, like in the example I'm using, we have this application has a workflow in it where a person can request to become an organization. So it's like basically saying, "Hey, I want to do business on this platform." So that request, or not the request, but the concept of them being an organization has several states, right? They can create their organization.
Sure.
They can request for that organization to be approved. The organization can be verified. The organization can actually be a partner, and then the organization can be suspended. It can be locked. It can be canceled. It can be archived. So it has all these states that it can be in, but there are rules around those states. So, for example, there can't be a request for approval and then go to lock, right? It
Right.
has to,
Right.
there are certain steps that it has to go through. As a matter of fact, the way I set it up is you can't even jump from request for approval to partner. You either have to be approved as an approved organization or a verified organization before you can become a partner. And it's just like that's sort of it's so simple, but like once it's implemented and not having to worry about that, and not having to worry about maintaining it with booleans or maintaining it with logic of okay, if it's this, then it can do this and this and this. It's just you create the state machine. It's a configuration file. You create the configuration file, and you create a column in the database for its state, and you just let the state machine handle that state, and it's super super slick.
Huh.
Yeah, so if you start to think about it, it's like there's so many things that could be used for. I mean, even even like doing a post, right? I mean, a post can be in draft mode, it could be in published mode, it could be in archived mode. It's like, well, how are you going to handle that? You're going to handle it with booleans, or you're going to handle it with, oh, is there a publish at date, or is there a publish at date, but is there a boolean for archived? No, screw all that. Just have a state of that document and say this document is published. You know? I love the idea. Now that I have my head around it and I have it implemented, it's like, oh yeah, I'm using this all over the place now. It's just a validation engine or a validation rule.
Huh.
So I'm really grateful. I actually paid attention to Jacob when he was mentioning it, because the example he kept referencing was this like he kept equating it to like Mario, the Mario games, like a video game, and talking about the different states that Mario could be in. And in my head, that's still like a linear thing. It's like, oh, I see. Okay, you get special skills, and then Mario can go to this state. But I still was having trouble applying it. It's like, but how does that apply to anything else? And now that I've kind of worked my way through it, it's like, oh, yeah, this makes a whole lot of sense now.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that because, I mean, like I've said for years, I just think that my particular environment is the perfect environment for any given technology you want to try out.
Buttery Crumpets, you have got to tweet that. This is just total awesomeness. Did that
That
come
is
in?
terrifying.
That is awesomeness. Look how clean and big we are. This I may have to Buttery. That's great.
for the podcast listeners, Buttery Crumpets has put us on his television, and we are now in a glorious 50 inches in front of him.
Let me see. Let me see if I can share this with you guys. I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna change Firefox to. For those of you watching the stream, I'm gonna change that to. This would have to be Discord. I think that'll work. Let's see, does that work? Yeah, there we go. You're seeing my little Discord screen now for a brief moment. Yes, Buttery sent a picture of watching us on TV, so that's cool, man. I like that.
That's disturbing.
Nah, he'll be okay. He'll be fine.
He's got strong stomach.
All right. So what were we talking about? No, I messed this one up.
Security cameras. No, something else.
State machines. You were talking about how interested you were in state machines.
Yes, I think that my industry, being adult entertainment, it's so fitting for so many different technologies we constantly see in the PHP world. And I was going to give a talk sometime back about, programming for porn, and the specific conflicts that we encounter in our industry. But we felt that it was a little too edgy for our meetup group.
Oh, you want to do it in a meetup group?
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about it here. I'm sure people would love to hear about some of it. I always found it fascinating, kind of hysterical. So we have worked together in public areas before, where you have worked on your porn stuff, and we've worked on other things. But we've been in coffee shops before working together, and so I know a lot of your workflows, and found it very entertaining that in your little local development environment, all the porn pictures get replaced with kittens.
Yes.
I thought that was great. I looked over one day just to, curiosity to see what you're working on. There are all these kitty cats on your screen. It's like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
What sort of sick thing are you into?
Unfortunately, due to some design changes, that's no longer the case. So when I do work in public, I have to work with my back to the wall and make sure that no one can accidentally look over my shoulder.
Have you ever looked into investing in one of those privacy screens?
I've looked into making one. You can make one out of an old broken monitor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When I worked in enterprise, we had to have those when we went to conferences. Basically, when we went to conferences, we had to have privacy screens for security.
Yeah, it's something I've looked into, but the off-the-shelf solutions can be very expensive. So I just don't care that much. I just find a place that makes sure that they don't have mirrors on the wall behind me, because that has happened before.
Oh my goodness. You know what's hysterical though? It's like, have you ever walked into a public library? It's like people have no shame.
Yeah.
I mean, I walked in. They're on the computers provided by the library in the middle of a room, no privacy, just clicking around, click, click. I'm like, dude, they're like kids running around here.
I think it's frowned upon, though. I don't think that they generally promote that at the library.
Well, and a lot of them will have privacy booths for that sort of viewing. Like if you're viewing adult content, there's usually like, hey, go to that booth over there and view it.
I don't think that's a library that you went to.
Well, it must have been. I was putting a lot of quarters in. I mean, what else would the quarters be used for?
Yeah, what you're describing, I don't think is a library. I worked at one of those too once, but.
Did you really?
Oh yeah.
Dude, you've been all over the place. Have you actually started anything? Is there video out there? Real write out? The real write out?
No.
See, that's where you use my joke. Just say, hey, it was just a short film. It's a short.
Very short film.
All
Speaking
right.
of adult content, uh, it looks like Yahoo has finished its process of killing itself and is selling off. We're selling off Tumblr.
Oh, I saw you had a card on this. I didn't even know Yahoo owned Tumblr.
Yeah, so Yahoo bought Tumblr from. Well, hold on, I'm getting no. Verizon has Tumblr.
Mm. Yeah, let's just read the article while we're
I'm
at
I
it.
yeah. I'm now I'm getting completely lost. Automatic is buying Tumblr from Verizon.
Okay, so Automatic, they're the maintainers and creators of WordPress.
Yes.
Okay, so that acquisition makes a lot of sense.
Um, it makes a little sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Verizon is the current owner because Verizon bought Yahoo.
Verizon is the current owner because they bought Yahoo. I got you. Okay,
Right.
all right.
And when Yahoo bought Tumblr, they paid roughly $1 billion for it.
Okay, which
However,
makes sense. I mean, Tumblr's my kids were all about Tumblr for a very long time. That's how they got. That's how they made their friends on Tumblr.
yeah, so it looks like it's being sold for around the $3 million mark.
So they bought it for $1 billion and
1.1
then
billion, yeah.
selling it for $3 million.
Yeah, and if you're not really comfortable with how large numbers like that work, the point 0.1 in 1.1 billion is 100 million.
Mm-hmm.
So they're selling it for 3% of 1/10 of a percent of the original purchase price.
Yeah. How crazy is that? That's like me paying $1,000 for my car, and then you give me 10 cents for it,
Yes.
or
Yeah, that is the
three
equivalent.
three three
Yeah.
cents for it. Actually, 3 cents for it is what you would give me.
Right, right.
Yeah, that is insane.
That's Yahoo, man.
It's
No
a
pun
fire
intended.
sale.
I mean, Yahoo is just a dumpster fire of the internet. It's
How did that happen? I mean, it looked so promising. They hung in there for years with Google. They fought off Microsoft. They got that executive from Google. She was supposed to change everything,
she did.
make
She
Yahoo
she
relevant
brought
again,
their bottom line from somewhere in the black to all the way in the red.
like a very bright red, like
Yeah.
like there's not a CSS equivalent of the red that she took them to.
Yeah, it's I mean, from what I can tell, having grown up with Yahoo, they invested in technology and then didn't maintain or use it.
Mm.
So they would buy things and then let them become outdated and obsolete and then ignore them until they were valueless.
Right.
And they would see trends coming forward and they would invest in these trends, but they wouldn't have the foresight to realize that these trends were isolated markets that were also losing money.
Mm.
So if you try to compete with a company that is hemorrhaging money, but the most successful in their market, you will end up hemorrhaging money while maintaining your position as not the most successful in the market. There's no winning out of that situation.
Wow.
It's like if I tried to compete with Uber right now.
Mm.
That why would I do that? Uber is perfectly fine losing money every day,
Mm.
and they're the leader in the market.
Well, it's interesting. And Buttery says that Yahoo is actually still doing really well in Japan. As a matter of fact, they even have a low-cost cell phone business over there. So He said, "Don't tell Lyft."
Well, Lyft
Yes.
came before Uber, though.
Did they really?
Yeah,
Lyft came
Lyft
before
Lyft
Uber?
started the idea.
Huh, I didn't know
I
that.
believe so.
I don't think you're right there. I think you're off. But I do know Lyft loses as much money as Uber. I mean, they have Uber level funding and investors.
I
So I
guess
mean, it's
Uber was. I guess Uber
it's
was first.
yeah, it's the same song, just different station. It's they you can't compete with Lyft either. They're burning through money and losing it every day, and at this point, don't seem to really care because it's all part of the plan. But it's definitely coming down to Uber and Lyft. I mean, they're just like it's who can lose more money, sort of scenario.
Well, Uber is investing in all sorts of automated driving technology and
Hmm.
other stuff. That's the stuff that's hemorrhaging the money right now. I believe Lyft is actually doing okay. But I mean, to me, this goes back to the WeWork stuff, where it's like they announced their IPO, they're hemorrhaging money. Why would someone buy the product? Why would someone
Hmm.
buy stock in a company that has no plans to be able to make money in the future?
Right.
It, and Yahoo's in the same position where they may be very popular in Japan if only Japan weren't an island of a very limited population.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
uh, they've cornered a small market, and that's good for them. They can keep it that way, but that doesn't make them a booming business.
Right.
They invested a bunch trying to compete with YouTube, but only with produced content. They didn't allow, user generated content. They had a music service, they had a maps service, a weather service,
Hmm.
but
Remember all this?
they always jumped in the game a minute too late, and the homepage is just garishly unusable.
Oh, I haven't been to Yahoo.com in years.
It's a news website a la the AOL webpage.
No, really.
Yeah, it has no directionality, it has no intention. It makes sense for something like this to work well in Japan because Japan
Actually,
has a
th-
information
th-
density
this is
thing.
pretty much how I remember Yahoo homepage looking back in the '90s. This is
Right.
you got the
It's not
weather and
very different.
scores. Yeah, this is pretty much the same thing. It's yeah. Huh. You can make Yahoo your homepage. That's still a thing for them. They still want you to make it your homepage.
What's the idea of a homepage?
The idea of having an actual homepage. So I told you I got to do some coding last week, and one of the things I really dove heavy into was Tailwind. Man, I am freaking loving Tailwind.
Isn't it nice?
It is so nice. Matter of fact, one of my developers paid me a compliment, and I don't even think they knew they paid me a compliment. When I showed them the admin interface, they're like, "Oh, this is nice and clean. What package did you use?" I'm like, "I did this." No, really, what package did you use? I did this.
Well, Tailwinds did it.
Well, Tailwind did it, yeah. But
The-
and I even found a site for Tailwind components. So it's like if you're looking for a form, they have the little layout for that and things like that. So it's pretty. I'm loving Tailwind. I have never had my head wrapped around any sort of CSS as well as I have it wrapped around Tailwind. I mean, Bootstrap. Yeah, I could cheat on Bootstrap. It's like, okay, what little shortcut do I need to put here to get the look I'm looking for? And Tailwind, I actually feel like I'm creating the components. So, but I haven't gotten to my big news yet. You want to hear my big news?
Go for it.
I've been vaping the last 2 days. Got
Vaping.
into
Vaping what?
Vapor. I've been vaping the serverless infrastructure of Laravel serverless application using Vapor.
I hear that'll kill you.
It is nice.
Yeah?
Yeah, Taylor let me in yesterday, and I spent pretty much all day yesterday and a good portion today just kind of walking through it, trying to deploy an application that was kind of like not risky. Like, okay, let's see if this deploys, and kind of getting my head around the little caveats. Like, whenever you're referencing any sort of CSS image, anything like that, you have to use your asset tag. Uh, Anywhere that asset tag isn't used is going to break in the serverless environment, and it makes complete sense too. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, yesterday I got in and got the application deployed, probably from zero to deployed maybe an hour. Um, and that was me troubleshooting things in the code. Um, and I never actually got it fully functional. There was a couple of things I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm working through issues, but so this morning I wiped everything out and I started again. But unfortunately, I had problems this morning, so I kind of pinged support, and of course it's Taylor basically
Yeah.
responding to support calls right now. And him and I mean, he I can't imagine how many support tickets he's getting right now, but he was responding to me in like 5 minutes. And so we went back and forth. It was funny. It's like I sent him the error message I was getting, and he just like messaged me. He goes, "Ah, damn it! Let me roll something back." he rolled back some code. He goes, "All right, try now." I'm like, "Yep, that fixed it." But so it's it is very beta. I mean, he's still working through things, and but I got the local SDPHP website that we've been revamping. I got that whole thing deployed, and it's nice. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to using it. There's still some things that need to be ironed out, and there's still some weird things about it. I need to ping Taylor about the database is probably the thing that bothers me the most because I can't see the way it works now is that you create a database, and so one of the really nice features of Vapor is anything that Vapor is handling for you, like the S3 storage, your database, your cache, all that stuff, you don't worry about putting in your .env file. Uh, Vapor configures your environment to automatically inject the credentials into your application.
Well, that's nice.
It's super nice. But the database is weird, and I'm sure there are workarounds for it. But um, there's a couple ways to create databases. You can actually use the AWS serverless database, which was interesting because when I was talking to him at Laracon, he had not implemented that yet and didn't seem like he was going to. But I guess he had. Um, or you can spin up the traditional RDS database, which is just Amazon's database service, relational database service, and
Right.
they're all MySQL. So I don't think there's anything but MySQL. I don't think you have an opportunity to go to Postgres, even though AWS offers it. I don't think at this point Vapor will allow for that. Could
Good.
be wrong. Yeah. Um,
Screw Postgres.
but the weird thing about it is that it spins up the database, and it actually spins up an RDS instance, and it treats that entire instance as a database. So even though you can connect to the instance and you can create multiple databases on that instance. So let's say you're non-production environment, right? And you want to create a dev, staging, beta database all in the same database instance. I'm
Mm.
not sure how to use that in Vapor. And I really have a feeling it's just a matter of pinging Taylor on it. And Taylor's going to say, oh yeah, just add this to your configuration file. Because so you get a Vapor YAML file added to your project. And that's where you put in all your configurations of, hey, use this network, use this database. You're not putting in your credentials. You're just telling it in Vapor, use this database. And then it does the credentials
Now,
yourself.
make sure you're not breaking any NDA here. You don't give away all the secrets.
So that's the funny thing about it. I was expecting this to sign an NDA because I knew it was beta. I assumed it was like private beta, But he just emailed me. He goes, "Hey, just go to this page and register, and it'll let you register." I'm like, "Okay." So he didn't have me sign anything when I logged in.
Huh.
I felt like I wanted to message him and say, "Hey, is it cool that I talk about this?" But you know,
He
he
probably doesn't remember who you are.
he, he doesn't. I mean, he seems pretty responsive in on Twitter and stuff. As far as I don't know, I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. But then again, serverless infrastructure is kind of a niche thing, so I don't know how many people are using it.
Yeah.
I think in the Laravel world, a lot of people are going to start using it. Like once this all gets polished, and once some big applications get deployed, and people like me start talking about it, I think I think it's going to be used a lot. I feel, but I was already going down this path, so I'm kind of biased to the serverless infrastructure.
Well, yeah, you already had weeks of headaches just dealing with this without any assistance.
Right. And the user group website is a real bad example uh, because it's going to cost us money, more money than normally we would host this on a DiegoDev server with an existing database and blah 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 blah. But by deploying it in serverless, there's a lot of minimal charges that already exceed what we would normally pay for a small DigitalOcean box to host it. But that's not the point of this deployment. This deployment is to work through it for the client so that when we go to deploy a client's application, we have a better idea of what we're doing. And I do think that I'm probably going to move mission control over onto it as well. Um, because
Really?
yeah, it's like it's a perfect fit for mission control. Because mission control is, it needs to always be available for people when they want to hit it, and it has its little jobs that it needs to run, which this implementation allows you to do. Yeah, I think it's a good fit for mission control. I have to go through the code base and see how well it will migrate over, but yeah, we'll probably move mission control over to there. And
Huh.
then we have clients that I'm definitely targeting. The big greenfield app we've been working on for a year. I want to get out there. We just started a new project with a new client who I think again perfect fit for the serverless architecture. Um, we have a proposal out for another project that if we get that one, I mean just moving forward in general, like any Laravel app we develop, I don't want to manage servers anymore. If I can work in this serverless architecture as part of the contract, that's the route we're going. I mean, that's just going to be standard.
Now, at Wave PHP, you had a speaker who worked on the Google serverless team,
I remember that.
and
Yep.
and I remember him saying, serverless is cool and all, but the way the pricing is structured, you do have to be really careful because it can
Hmm.
end up suddenly costing a ton of money.
Yeah. And even Taylor said that even his serverless stuff he puts behind
A
what's that?
server,
No, what's that service that protects you from denial of
Cloudflare.
service? Cloudflare. He puts all
Yeah.
his stuff behind Cloudflare because
Well,
that's
my
that's one
stuff's
of
all
those
behind
things.
Cloudflare too, but that's for different reasons.
Right. But I mean, a service architecture, in theory, can handle a denial of service attack. It's just going to cost you a lot of money. So,
Right. And I'm not
and
sure how Cloudflare works. I know they've got some kind of secret sauce.
right, where they're monitoring where the traffic's coming from and how many requests are happening. But even Taylor even thought about that for the serverless architecture. He even allows you to put some throttling in there where you can say, hey, yeah, there can never be more than this many concurrent users and things like that. So there is some built-in stuff that you can do to help mitigate that sort of attack, but you still probably want to use a service like Cloudflare just to be even extra safe.
Yeah.
But I'm loving it. I mean, the progress I made with Vapor in one day was easily a week and a half of me hacking through AWS Lambda, trying to get PHP running on it, trying to get all the connections and security worked correctly. I mean, yeah, this is like just such a no-brainer for me, and I'm loving it. I can't wait to really understand the ins and outs of it, and maybe wait for it to mature a little bit more as he works through issues. But yeah, this is a no-brainer for me. I love the Vapor.
Yeah, I'm a
You're so
big e-cigarette fan as well.
you seem to be so excited. That was my big thing, man.
I no, I'm excited about it. It's again, so glad I'm not full stack anymore. So glad I just won't ever have to deal with it.
So, so we do have Ian in our Discord. For anybody in Discord who don't know who Ian is, he's actually one of the organizers of Longhorn PHP. And
Oh,
Ian, are
he's the
you?
guy that fired you.
Yeah. He's actually the physical person who told us to leave
Okay,
and
let me see
not come back.
how do you kick people from Discord?
Yeah, we should. That shouldn't be too difficult. But Ian,
Kick and ban.
are you guys having Longhorn in 20? What would it be 2020? You guys already had it in 2019, right? I'm pretty sure you guys had it back in May. So Longhorn PHP, Longhorn. Yeah. Longhorn PHP back in 2018 is the one that John and I got um, fired from. So we're not bitter or anything. We
No.
think we actually agreed with it. Thought they were very smart for doing so. Um,
Generally a
but
good call.
yeah, so they have this year already, May 2nd through the 4th. Uh,
You know, that reminds me, I didn't tell you one of the big things this week is I have my tickets and everything I need for PHP World.
Dude, we're doing World together. All
We
three
are
of us will be
doing
at World.
we're doing the Ugly World tour.
The ugly. That's gonna be awesome, man. Oh, and speaking of which, so our old friend John Congdon is going to be speaking at World. He's actually doing two talks there. And then I got news this week that another one of the DiegoDev developers got chosen to be a speaker at Laracon AU. So Laracon Australia.
Really?
Yeah, Marcus Moore, who
I thought we weren't saying who it was.
always tell. No, he tweeted it, so I think we're allowed to say
Okay.
it. Yeah. But he's going, and as we all observe, Marcus is a very small, compact person, so it's going to be easy for him to travel. I looked
Yeah,
at, like,
he fits in the overhead bin for sure.
yeah, and comfortably. I mean, like, he'd probably prefer it. He'd be laying down, sleeping the whole way. But
No
I
one would
looked at
bother him.
tickets for somebody like me to fly to Australia, and it's like I don't have that
Oof.
sort of money. It's like transporting like a large zoo animal or something. It's got to be cheaper to fly like an elephant to Australia than it would be
Yeah,
for me to fly to
I was gonna
Australia.
say it is a little Operation Dumbo Drop.
Right? It's crazy, man. So I'd love to go there and support him and just go to Sydney, Australia in general, but I don't know. I don't know if I can handle it. That'd be a tough flight for me.
I know for a fact that I couldn't handle it. I would get 10 hours into the flight and lose my mind.
I know it's a 12-hour flight, man. It's
Yeah,
like
that's how
how can a plane
I would get real close and then
how
just go insane.
how can a plane stay in the air for 12 hours? How's that even my car can't drive 6 hours without having to stop for gas.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's I don't understand it. I don't ever want to understand it. I when they had the Concorde still flying and they were like, "Yeah, it crashes a lot though." I thought to myself, "All right, it's worth the risk." I'd rather a plane that crashes a lot but gets there in half the time.
All right. Where are we at?
Flying is so uncomfortable. I hate it so much. And I looked at the flight times. I have a direct flight to Washington.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a 2.5 hour. It's so fast and easy. But my
Yeah,
flight home,
you're like right in the middle of the country. You're perfect. I
yeah.
mean, everything's about a 2 hour flight for you.
Well, my flight home is like 8 hours because
What?
I booked it without looking at what the layovers were.
Oh my god.
And the worst part is my agoraphobia. I have issues with
Mm-hmm.
traffic, with
Mm-hmm.
cars and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I will literally be in Denver for like 4 hours, which is roughly 50 minutes away from my home
Mm-hmm.
by car.
Mm-hmm.
But I will be sitting there waiting for an airplane
Waiting for your connecting flight.
just so I don't have to get on the freeway.
I thought
And
about that on my flight home. On my flight home from Laricon, I had a layover in L.A. And when you live in San Diego, you actually get a lot of layovers in
yeah,
L.A.
oh yeah, yeah,
That's like a common thing. And I told the wife, I'm like, you know what? Next time, we're just renting a car from L.A. because it's like no matter how short the layover it is, it's always 2 or 3 hours of
well,
at least like
yeah.
an hour
Boarding is an
layover.
hour.
Exactly. It's like put me in a car, I can be home in 2 hours.
Yeah, so I might, depending on how I feel that day, just have my wife come pick me up from Denver instead of from next door.
Mm-hmm.
But
That makes sense.
knowing my anxiety, I'll probably fly.
Man, weed is legal. Weed is legal in Denver. Just land,
Does not help with
tote
the
it up.
anxiety.
How does that not help?
Oh, it makes it worse.
Weed makes your anxiety worse.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's not good, man.
No, it's not.
All
Well,
right.
we have a small one, a callback to our last episode.
Okay.
Ninja. This is your article here. I'm stealing it from you.
Please do.
He's very angry at Twitch
Understandably.
because when he left Twitch under his new contract with Microsoft to go to Mixer, they took his channel and just started streaming other stuff on it.
Right.
And somebody that they had forked control over to just streamed an hour's worth of porn on his channel.
Well, but did they actually stream porn on the channel? Or
Uh huh.
I think it was advertisements, wasn't it?
No, it was porn.
Did they actually stream porn on his channel?
Yeah.
That is insane.
Um, but to me, the interesting part of the story is that there's nothing he can do about their use of his name, of his channel on the site.
Right. I found that very interesting as well. He kept talking about how like in his head he's bigger than Twitch. Which I
Now,
mean financially
he
he may
is.
be. Right.
He is 1% of Twitch's viewership
Mhm.
alone.
Mhm.
So that's a huge impact. Out of millions and millions of hours viewed per day on Twitch, he is 1% of that.
Mhm.
It's a shocking number. Um, and he believes that he has the intellectual property rights to his name and his channel, but Twitch says you deleted your channel. It's now just a dead link on our website. We can do anything we want to with it.
Mhm.
And so they're using it to promote other streamers.
Of course,
And
because that's where so many of their users are going to.
right. So the issue here, I think the bigger issue here isn't what got streamed, but the fact that he gave up the intellectual property rights by deleting his channel. And Twitch just said, well, it's ours now then. We can use all of the attention that you brought to it for whatever means we want.
Mhm.
Um, They show past broadcasts from him. They show other streamers' content. Uh, but it's a strange situation. It's a really strange situation. It's part of that whole you don't own anything economy right now.
Right.
Where even he doesn't even own the venue by which he made all of his money. Which, if you worked for television studios or music labels, you would say cry me a river.
Right.
I make all the music and they make all the money. But still, to see it in the tech sector in this way is interesting and surprising.
Mm-hmm.
And if he were to leave Twitter, could the same thing be done again? Or if we, or Twitter or any service, if we left Simplecast, could Simplecast start redirecting our URLs and subscribers to episodes of some new show?
Interesting. Yeah.
So we really don't own our content.
Well, and honestly, we don't want to own our content, and I don't think anybody else does either.
Sure, it's nice to be able to blame others, for sure.
Exactly. And with that said, the people who do own our content are our patrons. We do appreciate you. You like that? It's been a while since we've done the segue.
It's nice. It's smooth.
Yeah, pretty easy. I know you love it when I call it out too.
Almost as smooth as the Stone Tangerine Express.
I gotta come back over to you. Here, do that again. Boom, boom. Do your Tangerine Express.
Smooth, delicious Stone Tangerine Express IPA.
Wow, you still rocking the San Diego Stone, huh?
Oh yes, it's delicious.
Nice.
And nutritious, I think.
So yes, thank you to all our Patreons for. I actually logged in to make sure the list was current, and it had been current. So we haven't lost or gained anybody, but we do appreciate you. And at some point, we will use your contributions to enhance this show. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it'll happen.
We'll fly Eric to Australia and leave him there.
I'll be in a big crate with the parachute on it.
Do not startle.
Exactly. Just a couple of holes in the top.
Yeah.
Banana peels inside. I'll be fine. All right. I think we're done. I think this is going to wrap it up. It's a good week.
It's been a good week.
We should do it next week. What do you think?
That sounds good. And you know what? With the kids all going to school, that's entirely going to be. I'm going to be much more relaxed, much more in the groove. It's going to be real nice.
So yeah, and hopefully by next week I'll have a little bit more vapor experience under my belt, and maybe I'll even have the URL to share with everyone. Well, if everything goes well by next week, www.sdphp.org will be pointing to our serverless implementation. But it's not there now, so you can go and look at an old WordPress instance if you're curious. But by next week, hopefully we'll have it cut over to the new serverless deployment. Which, man, remind me next week also to talk about our SDPHP meetup. We had a great talk this week about what was it called? Heptagon architecture or something? Wow. That was amazing. That speaker, Mark, he's done a couple talks for us. He is a great speaker. I like
hexagonal architecture.
Hexagonal architecture, yeah. He's one of these guys that he can't help but smile. He just like lights up the room. He's just like he walks in and he's always grinning and giggling but he's smart as hell. So But yeah, he did a talk and it was cool. I mean, it was. I get into that stuff. I try not to get too excited about it, but
you are an architecture guy.
It was cool. So remind me to talk about it next week, and I'll review our meetup with you. All right.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds good.
All right. Sounds good. Okay, that's going to do it for episode 160. Yes, that you heard me correct. We've done this 160 times, and we'll do it 160 more. I'm your host, Eric Van Johnson.
I'm Tom Rideout.
And
keep it ugly. Woo!
All right, we really need to add ending music and ending. I need to do a Fiverr, man.
Fiverr?
Fiverr, yeah.
I think we can afford that.
Yeah, I think so. So I tell you, let me get some music playing here for anybody who wants to hang out. I'm telling you, man, this eGPU I have added to my laptop has made all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world as far as dependability, functionality. Like, I can run so much stuff now on my laptop, and it doesn't even do anything. What are you laughing about?
It's just that having a nice, expensive GPU would fix everything. I wouldn't disagree. I would say that that's sort of been the de facto for a while.
Having a nice GPU, or a system that works without a lot of additional crap.
Well, so let me tell you the GPU story about why that's happening.
Yeah, please. Because, and I'm going to tell you something weird about it as well. Go ahead.
So, the children's bylaw who owes owes a lot of money in child support. All of a sudden, instead of the regular $500 per month child support that we were used to, we get a check for $5,000.
Whoa! Holy smokes!
And yeah, so we're like, well, that's clearly some kind of mistake. Let's contact him. He doesn't respond. After a couple days, we're like, well, it doesn't look like it's a mistake. It's not being, contradicted or anything, and everything's looks like it's supposed to. He eventually responds, and he's like, yeah, I just thought I'd help out. And we know him quite well, so we knew that wasn't the case. So we were telling some of our friends about it, and they said, well, sounds like tax garnishment. And I was like, oh, that's right. He started his own company. He has his own landscaping company. So when he filed his taxes for that company, they must have just said, hey, it looks like you got a nice big refund. Too bad it's not going to you. And sent it to us.
Well, that's good. That's good for you guys. I mean, it's not like he didn't deserve it or anything. It's money he owes for his kids.
Got a very nice polo out of it. That was my idea of treating myself at this point. It was just it's so foreign to me to buy anything for myself that getting, maybe $60 worth of clothes, I felt so guilty about. And then I was like, no, I can get things for myself. It's okay. But then this happened right when those new video cards got announced, and I was just like, okay, yeah, that'll set me up for 3 or 4 years. I'll be fine with that.
Thomas. So this external GPU, it's interesting because it connects to the laptop through a Thunderbolt connection, right? So it's just,
FireWire.
And it has to be Thunderbolt. It has to be the top tier USB 3. Anything underneath, and it chokes, right?
Yeah.
So you can't just pull. Well, you're not supposed to just pull it out. You're supposed to eject it like a disk. You eject the eGPU when you want to take your laptop with you.
Yeah.
The weird thing about it is that the system then closes all the applications that are tied to the eGPU.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
yeah, I guess it does make sense. I'm curious why you just can't like your browser closes. Like I could have 10 tabs open and it closes the browser, closes PHP Storm. I'm just curious
Yeah.
why you just can't hand it off and say, okay, well, you have to go to the internal GPU now because I'm going bye bye. So everybody.
So the best that I understand it is that the reason GPUs like this work is because they have direct DMA access to the device. They circumvent the operating system almost completely. So when the operating system instantiates an application that utilizes a hardware acceleration like that,
Yeah.
it says, here's the device you use. And then from there, the process is forked off and it only knows about that device. It doesn't know about anything else. It's not communicating with the operating system. So in, like, let's say Chrome, the frame around Chrome, the thing that renders the tabs and the URL bar and stuff like that, that's all running in 2D, non-accelerated on the screen. So the OS knows where those components are and what they're doing. But then the window pane itself is running in an accelerated process, and only the container process knows what that thing is doing. And even then, it doesn't really know what it's doing. It just knows that it's there. So when you drag the window around on the screen, you're interacting with a 2D element that's able to tell the 3D element, hey, render in this space on the screen now. But in reality, that 3D process is not communicating with the operating system whatsoever. So there's no way for the operating system to communicate, hey, there's been a change in devices, because they don't want the 3D process talking to the software. That's what slows things down. That's what interacts with the CPU, which is what you don't want.
Yeah, I mean, I have now gotten used to it, but it takes some. It just caught me off guard because it's like if I'd been on it all day long, like pretty much all my applications close down. Now some will actually relaunch. So like Slack will relaunch. Like some apps seem to relaunch. I don't remember if Chrome is one of the ones that relaunches, but I know like Storm doesn't. Storm won't relaunch. Uh, but yeah,
Well, it
it's
probably
just
does.
weird.
It probably does a kill dash 3. I think it's dash 3. There's a kill command that tells the process to kill itself and then restart.
Mm.
And that's handled in the software itself. So if the program isn't written to know what a restart is, then it won't restart. So I think Slack, because it's built on that software website software library, what's it called?
The website software library.
Yeah, it turns a website into a free-floating application.
What are you talking about? Oh, guess what? Your driver didn't work either.
Oh, really?
That's your fault. Yeah, I actually opened a support ticket with Razer. They're telling me they think that the chassis is defective. They want me to return the chassis. So I'm gonna have to. I'm actually worried that it's not the chassis. I'm worried that we talked some time back about what is it called? The Devil Docker or
Devilbox.
Devilbox, yeah. And Devilbox had tried to do something like Valet, where it tried to handle do a local DNS, and I've noticed ever since then, like I tried to get that configured, and I don't know, like my system like weirded out on me, and it's weird because like if I tried to use when I was using the network port that was on the eGPU, it would work fine. Like if I was browsing Google, if I was pinging stuff, it would work fine. The moment I tried to stream anything, it shut down. It was only when I tried to stream stuff, it shut down, and it completely shut down. I couldn't even see the local network at that point. It's this really weird thing. And so hopefully it is a bad network card. I actually ordered another chassis because I was getting one for John at the office as well. So I'm gonna swap it out real fast and just make sure that actually does fix it before I send mine back.
I got this.
What do you got? Camera, yeah.
I got 2 of them, and they are both defective out of the box. So I was going to talk about that, but they're just both defective, and they're sending me an RMA. Like,
yeah, I'm laggy, Ian, because we're syncing Dropbox, and I didn't turn Dropbox off. So, all right. Well, anything else you want to touch on, or we good? Our after show conversation.
yep.
Buttery, thanks for the picture, Buttery. That was fun.
Yeah, thank you
I
guys
guess,
for listening.
Can we say we've been to Japan now? We were in Japan, right? TV's in Japan. We're there on the TV.
Yeah.
I see. I don't see anything wrong with that. Oh, there's
We're
show
big in Japan.
Laravel will adopt it with the next release. There's
Yes.
show stuff going on here.
I responded to that only 2 weeks later.
God. We really need to pay closer attention to our Discord people.
I tried to, but when my machine crashes, Discord is like the last thing I remember to start back up.
I'm the same way. I'm horrible at it. So. All right, man. Well,
All right.
everybody watching, I'm going to go ahead and kill the stream now. So Thomas and I can talk about you guys behind your back. So talk to you. See you guys next week.